two sequels to sexy horror films I reviewed in past seasons. Look, I'm a completionist, okay? Now, prepare yourselves for confusion. The original Sorceress is also known as Temptress, and one of the known titles for this sequel is Sorceress 2: The Temptress. Okay, later the title card on my copy reads Legion of Evil Sorceress 2. Alrighty then. The film fades up and I'm thinking, wow, this must be trying to outdo the first film's time to tits ratio because there they are, Julie Strain's ample boobages. But it soon hits me like a ton of Julie Strain's boobs that this is the exact same footage from the first Sorceress. However, this time her booby dance is intercut with her putting a curse on director Jim Wynorski, who is in a car babbling about a corporation that's trying to bring witchcraft into the 21st century. You see what happens when you cut regulations? The curse kicks in and he dies in stock footage that was also used as stock footage in the first film. In fact, this killed Jim Wynorski right out of the potential Sorceress franchise, as he's only producing this time. Instead, the film is written and directed by Richard Stiles, who, as far as I've been able to tell, is not one of Wynorski's many aliases. However, this definitely still feels like a Wynorski joint. Yes, Julie Strain is back for the sequel, but when she finally shows up in footage that's not been recycled, she's now a totally different witch lady than she was in the first one. Sorceress 2 proudly features special effects by a company called Marmalade Digital Design, and it doesn't take long before we get to see them in action, as a dude wanders into Ross Hagen's office, who, while a Wynorski regular, is not credited as appearing in this film anywhere, and murders him with a pink tornado of death thing. From there we meet our main dude, who is down on his luck, but one morning a multi-million-dollar job just falls into his lap, and he accepts. He goes to check the place out, and well, look, you know what the deal is here. It's a company of witches. Everyone's wearing pentagrams, for God's sake. It's the logo of the company. Jim Wynorski told us in the opening scene. The town's name is Coventry.
Tell me, this symbol on your necklace, I see it around here a lot. What is it?
It's a pentagram. It's sort of a family crest.
I thought it had a religious meaning of some kind.
A long time ago it may have, but to me it's magical and sexy. Here, hold it. Tell me what you found.
So, this evil company of witches keeps killing off dudes who work for them, for which reasons, who knows. They hire our main guy because they really need a marketing campaign, but of course he snoops around and uncovers the truth, which they seemingly allow because they really needed a marketing campaign. Along the way, our hero has an absurd stock footage dream, and then the wispy-thin beardy man dude uses his fruity aura powers to kill any large-breasted women who are attempting to learn the truth about the company.
Who are you?
Better question is, who are you and what are you doing in Mr. Stevens' house?
I'm a friend. Do you work for Mr. Stevens?
No, everyone in Coventry works for me.
Oh, really? And what do you do?
I do this.
Eventually, this all leads to a final battle between that guy and the main guy, where they both have weird pineapple force powers, yet also just punch each other a lot. Everything ends with stock footage of the first film's ending, and then the end credits promise a third installment that we never got. It's not as good as the first film, it's not even as good as most films, but there's a goofiness to it that can be enjoyed in the right circumstances, especially in the first half. But boy is it cheap. Now, in a strange random twist, Midnight Tease 2 is also a Jim Wynorski-produced, Richard Stiles written and directed sequel that's totally unrelated to the first film. The first Midnight Tease had moments, but Midnight Tease 2 makes that first one look like Basic Instinct or some other slick production. Like the first one, there's a lot of stripping scenes with rock-hard 90s Hooters on display, but there's very little plot happening here, even less than the first. I didn't think that was possible. Apparently there's a serial killer who killed Kimberly Kelly's sister, and so she gets a job undercover at the strip club where she worked in order to find out where she had been sent and murdered. And things are especially dull and not at all suspenseful, as the killer basically sits alone in a room like Christopher Pike, and then whenever the stripper turns around, they get dead. The cops are somehow unable to put it all together that women get sent to this address and then die, so our stripper hero must solve the mystery herself. Must have been nice to be able to make a movie that's like 60 minutes of stripping, 15 minutes of dialogue, some credits, and then getting it distributed. Unlike Sorceress 2, this just doesn't have any potential for fun, and you can see better breasts elsewhere. Or read a book. Yeah, just read a book instead.
I hope you enjoy classical music.
Yeah.
This isn't classical music, this is the film soundtrack.